Okay, so this movie really went from The Affair to Boys in the Hood, and I am confusion. The plot just kept on going. Hey y'all, it's Nate. Welcome back to my little corner of YouTube. Today we are talking about Fatale, a psychological thriller that was just added to Netflix. If you haven't seen it and you just want a synopsis, that's going to be this first half, but anything after that will contain spoilers. If you want to keep the conversation going, come hang out with us over on Discord. The invite link is in the description box. Fatale is a 2020 psychological thriller directed by Dion Taylor. This story is about a successful sports agent who meets a woman and has a one-night stand with her during his hall pass in Vegas. What happened in Vegas follows him home, and the woman begins to stalk and blackmail him. And you can only guess where it goes from there. It does have some twists along the way. The film stars Michael Ealy, Hilary Swank, and Mike Coulter. Everything from this point on will contain spoilers, so if you haven't seen Fatale yet and you don't want it to be spoiled, save this video and come back after you do. Okay, so this movie really went from The Affair to Boys in the Hood, and I am confusion. The plot just kept on going. So from the start, I think I was struggling with the premise of this film and the whole non-black woman being a homewrecker situation. On one hand, I'm glad that the homewrecker wasn't black. On the other hand, I'm really tired of this narrative that successful black men don't want black women. As well as this successful black wife put her career on hold so that her man could get his career ahead, and now that she's getting back to her career, he's mad about it. But I'm willing to look past those things for the sake of not overthinking this film, because I don't think it was supposed to be that deep. Because then we find out that the wife was messing around with the best friend anyway, so I guess nobody's really innocent in this situation. I did have a little chuckle when he found out that they were sleeping with each other, and he had to pretend like he was having a heart attack on the damn sand. Like, why did he fall like that? Like, sir, you cheated too. Why are you breaking down like this? Miss Vegas off top was crazy. Never in my life have I been like, let me lock somebody's phone in the security box as a way to coerce them into sleeping with me again in the morning. That's actually a crazy AF thought process. So that means that even before she knew about his wife, she was already acting crazy. Does anybody else feel like this movie should have maybe been a mini-series? It had way too many side stories. Why do we need to be going through this custody battle with Miss Vegas and her ex-husband? Like, the whole story about her being an alcoholic and keeping a gun on her bed, which caused her daughter to be paralyzed. I don't know. I just feel like it wasn't really necessary. They did try to do a wraparound.
I think I'll do a wraparound. We'll wrap around
at the end of the movie and basically say like they needed to have that because they needed her to try to get revenge on the ex-husband. But again, I don't think that story was needed either, but I'm gonna talk about that a little later. But I don't know, maybe they kept it in for her character development, because why is your first option kill them too instead of I'm a detective, let's put them in prison? Like, I don't know how she got to there. Logically, it didn't make sense. And now on top of an affair, we have a whole murder. Like, y'all cannot put an entire telenovela into 140 minutes. It's simply impossible. But they really tried to do it anyway. I think anybody who paid attention for this movie for even 5 minutes could already tell that the detective was going to be the killer. She had a vendetta since she found out that he was married, and probably even before that. And this scene right here took me the fuck out.
Oh, shit.
Like, who gets shot like that? Bro got shot point blank with a shotgun, and he's still groaning after he hits the wall. Like, what is going on? I guarantee you that if you get shot with a shotgun, that's not how that's gonna happen. It's game over immediately. So yeah, eventually we find out that this was all some kind of sick and twisted way to get her husband killed, which I don't really know if I'm buying how that played out. I simply cannot imagine a realistic situation when I'm taking a jog and somebody comes up to me and they're like, is this your wife? And I'm like, don't talk to me. Like, you would have been like, oh, you know somebody who I know. Maybe this isn't a crazy situation. But he was like, stop talking to me, or like whatever he was saying. I don't know, it was weird.
Detective Valerie Quinlan, right? She's your ex-wife? Is she your ex-wife?
Yeah. She sent you down here to kill me?
I gotta make it look...
It kind of wasn't a typical human reaction, and I think that's why I'm having a hard time connecting it, aside from the fact, what I mentioned earlier, that it doesn't make sense that that storyline is even in here. She literally could have just been a crazy one-night stand, and they could have kept it with that. Trying to add this layer of revenge against the ex-husband, it's like they put the cake in the oven, but they didn't let it cook all the way through. They sticking a toothpick in it, and it's still cake coming off. I guess that's only a joke that bakers would get. Overall, I think I'm gonna give this film 3 golden film rings. That might be the lowest thing I've ever given anything on my YouTube channel so far. And honestly, that's being generous. 2.5 seems a little bit more accurate, but I'm trying to be nice. It was a little cliche, right down to the inspirational speech from the black mom.
What is the most precious thing you own, Derek? Your name. and they can't take it from you unless you give it away. So you gotta fight. You gotta get up every day and fight for it.
And the fact that he was recording their last conversation. Like, that isn't a secret thing that nobody saw coming. We literally all saw that coming. But I did think the soundtrack was pretty good, so that helped it a little bit. That's probably where the 0.5 came from. I really do feel like this movie would have been better as a miniseries. As a movie, it felt both really rushed and too long, and I don't even know how that's possible. That, coupled with the fact that we all have literally seen this movie 100 other times. It didn't really feel fresh. I do think that they attempted to add that freshness with all these twists and turns, but truly the only one that shocked me is that the best friend and the wife were sleeping together. Everything else was beyond predictable. But I don't know, maybe that's a me problem. I do enjoy this genre of film, so maybe I've just seen it way too many times. And maybe I just understand how these things are written. Maybe it isn't that predictable. But in my opinion, this is not a situation where the cast is bad. This is not a situation where the acting is bad. The storyline is bad. And even the best actress or actor couldn't fix that problem. But as always, I am definitely interested in knowing what you think, so let me know in the comments. If you want to keep the conversation going, come hang out with us over on Discord, and I'll see you next time. Subscribe. I gotta do that all on one, okay? Blah, blah, blah. Really innocent. Not you starting your car. Being generous.
On your mind, just say that. Brand new Benz, brand new Maybach. Got brand new friends for way back. If you my sign, can't change it.